Let's talk about another game. Now we got two games that aren't coming out or haven't come out yet. Excuse me. Let's talk Casey. Casey,
Okay.
you got to play a Pokemon game.
I did get to play a Pokemon game. I got to play Pokemon Legends ZA at both the Pokemon World Championships in Anaheim and in Paris in the Eiffel Tower, which is absolutely crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, that was
during the
wild.
day or night?
During the day.
Okay.
During the day. Also, while I was there, I did the stamp rally for Pokemon Go. It was a lot of, and there was a Mega Evolution event too.
Wow.
In Paris. I got this like water bottle and Mega Malamar. I didn't want to wear this the whole time. It's very,
I can see why.
it's fun.
But just to preface this, you do have a full hands-on preview on IGN that people can go check out for really in-depth thoughts. But kind of baseline, what'd you think?
Gosh, what did I think? So Pokemon okay, look, I say this in my preview as well. I have been kind of neither here nor there about it because Legends Arceus left me with so many expectations. I expected the Legends series to be set in the past to explore lore that otherwise has not been explored. And
the
with
name Legends
ZA,
would imply that.
Yeah. So with Legends ZA being in the modern time, I'm a little less enthused about it. But I did have a lot of fun with it with what I have played. I've liked what I've looked. The first hands-on was very, very early in the game, so I felt like it wasn't really challenging enough to make me want to engage with its systems. But what I played in Paris and my second hands-on was a little bit higher rank, not the tutorial stuff anymore. So it was a lot more interesting. I did find out some interesting new details. So number one is that your Pokemon won't... So when you're fighting a wild Pokemon, you can't accidentally knock them out.
That's good.
They will just sit there and have the stars around and you'll have a chance to throw a Pokeball. I don't know if there's any consequences to this. I feel like there needs to be a consequence because taking away the tension from that mechanic, it feels bad to me. Like it feels like it takes away how the success feels when you successfully like get a Pokemon down to a sliver of health and paralyze it and are able to capture it. So I do hope there is some sort of bad thing that happens. It does disappear if you take too long to catch it, and I wonder if that will happen to shiny Pokemon as well, but we'll have to see. Because in Scarlet and Violet, you can't accidentally kill a kill a shiny Pokemon with your like overworld attacks. I also learned, which is I think is a really big one, is that you can Mega Evolve your Pokemon multiple times in the same battle, which has not been the case in the core games, and I don't think anyone expected this, but I think it's a really interesting thing, and you can basically have a team full of Megas. The caveat to this is that your Mega Evolution power has to be full to be able to do this, and you acquire this power each time you successfully deal an attack. But you can also gather this energy through other ways. I didn't get to test this in trainer battle, so I'm not sure how viable it is to rely on this, because when you're in the overworld or fighting a rogue Mega Evolved Pokemon, there are other ways to build up that power. So I don't know how long it would take in a trainer battle to build that meter up again to be able to Mega Evolve, but it is a very interesting new mechanic. And
question.
You can... Yes.
You said like, successfully landing attack. Does that count for like status things? Like if I hit somebody with toxic, does that also build it up?
Sorry, to clarify, it's whenever you send the command, that power is built up. So you
just like literally inputting anything. Gotcha.
Yeah. Cool. As soon as you press the button, your energy will build up. So you don't actually have to land the attack. You just have to give the command for it. And the other, you can use that energy to use plus moves as well. This is a third new thing that I found out. So you can press the plus button on the Switch controller, and that will then make all of your moves become more powerful versions of that move. And I think that's an interesting way to make it so that Pokemon that can't Mega Evolve from becoming completely obsolete. So you still have the powered up moves, because when a Pokemon Mega Evolves, all of their moves are automatically the plus moves. So that is interesting. I I still feel like Mega Evolved Pokemon have a 1-up to those plus moves because all of their stats are increased, but I wonder if the attack power or special attack power is comparable, because that would make things it would feel a lot better, right? But I also, something I didn't talk about in my preview that I will talk about here is that I did get to watch the intro cutscene to Pokemon Legends ZA. And in this cutscene, the main character, the protagonist, goes to Lumia City on a train and is a tourist. And while walking around the city, you see your friend, who is either a male or female, depending on who you chose. And they are talking to the starter Pokemon and are looking for someone to help them advertise their hotel. And they say they need someone who looks like the biggest tourist they could find. So they talk to you and want you to film a video talking about how their hotel is so great, but it doesn't matter. You don't have to stay with them. They're just trying to promote it. And you get interrupted from that interaction by an ad on a screen on a building nearby of Jet, who is the CEO of Quasartico, who is in charge of urban development of the city. And this is basically the replacement of a professor telling you about the world of Pokemon, which I thought was pretty interesting. But I kind of like how the bad guys are, they're just a corporation.
That's such a funny setup for a Pokemon game. When like the last Legends was like, you go back in time and like see the past, and this is like, hey, can you help me film this TikTok real quick?
Yep.
I got
make a TikTok for my hotel, please.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just wondering if there's some sort of time travel nonsense that they will put into this.
Some twist
to kind of tie
back.
it in. Yeah, to tie it into the more of the Legends theme. And I really hope they do. And I think that would elevate this experience so much more for me. I'm looking forward to playing the whole thing. I think there's a lot to it that I haven't been able to experience. 1 hour with the game is not nearly enough to figure like anything out at all.
It seems, at least on the surface, and we don't have to go this in too deep, but one of my big questions was like, it seems like it runs okay. It looks okay compared to the last one. So at least the Switch 2 jump seems to be making an impact.
I mean, performance-wise, it's better from what I've played, the little demo-wise. I mean, it still doesn't look great. The textures are all still very flat on most of the buildings and stuff. But that's... I care about those things in most games. Pokemon is not one I generally care about it. Not to say I don't want them to ever improve, because I definitely do want them to give us better quality things when we get things like Xenoblade and Tears of the Kingdom. But yeah, you know,
I just think it's maybe nice to call it a little bit of baby steps towards the right direction when we can. Well, thank you, Casey, for telling us about that. I'm excited to hear more of your thoughts on it once we get the full thing, whenever that may be. Brendan, you played Hyrule. Okay, let me do it. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, Legends Shadows.
Highway to Hyrule.
Deluxe EX.
Highway to Hyrule.
But you didn't play a whole lot of it, right? You only got like a glimpse, basically.
Yeah, you had an hour, Casey. I had 20 minutes, which was really just 10 minutes twice.
Oh, no.
Who'd you play as? What'd you think?
The demo is actually available at TGS right now, and it's like fairly early on. It's like the third mission in the game. My takeaway is that if you already liked Hyrule Warriors, you will like this one. If you don't, it's not going to change your opinion, but they've made some really cool steps to make it even more fun. I started out playing as Zelda, and the first thing I noticed is that I think in the previous game, you kind of had Zelda with the Sheikah Slate, and she was kind of using like all the different Sheikah abilities to kind of like supplement her attacks. And this, she just becomes like a force wielder, where she has a lightsaber that she throws out in front of her and supplements with like, magic attacks and a light bow that you can pull out. So because Link is not invited to this game because he's back in the present and you're in the past, I think she's kind of like a good stand-in for Link. Like she has some really good sword slashes. She has good range and melee capabilities. So she's kind of like a good all-rounder. And I kind of enjoyed, learning her abilities. But I think like the real star of the show for me was you got to go with the two Zonai, Rauru and Minaru. And Minaru is like the technical fighter. she is the one who creates the mech and Tears of the Kingdom that you can pilot. And in this, she's just constantly throwing out different Zelda devices, and like the contraptions you can throw out come out of nowhere. And they're basically like, if you can think it in Tears of the Kingdom, it would probably be really cool in this one too. So like she'll just spawn this giant like 4-wheeler off-road with like spikes, and you just roll over people. Or instead of running, she just puts down like a Zonai wheel and just side saddles, and that's her run animation. And like she'll just like flip out Zonai constructs at people, or just like summon like, laser attacks. It's pretty fun. Like I always enjoyed seeing what she could do next. And like it had me wondering like, oh, like one of her special attacks, which you can now hold like R, and it gives you like a list of everyone that has like 2 special abilities to unveil, or you can use like singulars on our devices like a flamethrower, which you can either like hold around or you can place down and then attack on the side of it. But like one of her abilities, she puts down this like a giant like stake in the ground with a paddle, and the paddle hits a giant sphere like a bowling ball into the enemies. And I'm like, can I do that in Tears of the Kingdom? I kind of want to go see if I can do that, because this looks really fun. And then one of the biggest things I noticed is that with these abilities, you can also perform strikes with your allies. And you can see in the B-roll, there's the 3 different character portraits, and Minero's is lit up. And if another character's portrait lights up, it'll actually show you on the ground. You're close to a character you can perform a sync strike with. And depending on the 2 characters you have, that strike will be very different. And they have lots of different kind of ways they work, where if it's like Minero and Zelda hops onto her giant mech, and you can just go to town, like just destroying everything in your path. Whereas if it's Zelda and Rauru, they both launch these like twin like beams of light, but you can control them independently with control sticks. So when I was going up against like 2 construct soldiers, I just parted the beams and had them attack independent targets, which is really fun. And they didn't confirm this, but like I'm wondering, because this game will have co-op and game share, can you have someone do a sync strike and have independent movement during the strike? That would be really cool. I hope. I don't know for sure. But it was really fun, and everything looked really smooth. It was like a huge upgrade from the Switch 1 version on Age of Calamity. But then again, it was a very early mission, so it was like in the depths, underground, not too many enemies. So
yeah,
will that
not
change?
The stress test for it.
Yeah, it wasn't put through its paces. But from what I saw, everything looked really fun. And then another thing that I really liked was these abilities that you can use to kind of interrupt the enemies. Like the bosses will now do these unblockable attacks, in which you're prompted to kind of break through, because they can't be blocked, but you can dodge around them, but it's not really reliable. But instead, doing these skills to interrupt kind of reminded me of a different game, much more punishing game. Neo 2 had a thing where you are like attacking these yokai who would do these like miasma-based attacks, and the only way to get through them was to just punch through their attacks with your own attacks. Mm-hmm. And this seems to be kind of mimic it, but they give you a much wider window to anticipate and react. That might change as things get more difficult. But what was really fun for me is at one point, there was an enemy prepping its big attack, and I'm like, oh shoot, my abilities are on cooldowns. Suddenly it swaps to Rauru, who has his abilities up, and he basically just dove in to intercept and stopped the boss from attacking me, because I had that cooldown up on him instead. So it kind of gives me an extra layer of strategy of, do I want to send my allies to cover different points in the map, or do I want to keep them close by to do these sync strikes and also, help me out if I run out of my own cooldowns for abilities? So there's a lot I like here. It's short, but it's looking very good.
It's it's giving me those vibes. I reviewed our Dynasty Warriors Origins earlier this year, and I could see a lot of those elements kind of coming into play here. The sync strikes specifically, they had those combination Musou attacks that they had in Dynasty Warriors, which has always been a thing. But this seems like they've taken it up another level, because they can get a little bit more fantasy with it, and it's a little more like, hey, we don't need to be kind of not realistic. We can just be fully not realistic at all with all our abilities now, because it's in this Zelda universe versus this ancient war.
and specifically, it's in the Zelda universe where they have access to this crazy magic technology and all these pieces. So it looks like they got to get really creative with that stuff, which I appreciate, because I think the concept of this game of going back and using all of Tears's, building stuff and setting it in the way in the past like this is, I think that's really clever. I think this is a really interesting idea fundamentally. So yeah, Brendan, thank you very much for telling us about it. I think we're out of time.
Thanks for watching this clip from Nintendo Voice Chat. Be sure to catch the full episode over at youtube.com/IGN Games. New episodes of NVC drop every Friday on IGN Games, IGN.com, and your favorite podcast platforms. With the Nintendo Switch 2 finally here, there is so much to dive into. We appreciate you tuning in, and don't forget, NVC is the only place you can get the thing.